to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Thursday, January 22nd. Welcome into the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Mike Wright is here. Jason Moore, the GOAT himself, Andy
Jason?
Holloway. Well, look at his hat.
It's the hat.
Look at his hat.
Oh. Yeah.
Self-proclaimed GOAT.
It's just a Christmas present.
I mean, I don't know if he's proclaiming he is a goat or it's just stating
This is a goat.
there's a goat on my hat.
There's a goat.
Only the GOAT would eat
No
two
lies.
hot dogs for lunch.
Oh, baby, hot dog lunch.
Hot dog lunch.
I ordered 3, so I had a lot
Did
of
you?
self-control.
Dude,
Wait, so you left the hot dog?
Yeah,
You
I
know
didn't
what?
know how big they were going to be. They were
I
some
think that's a good strategy.
right?
Order
Right?
one more than you should eat.
Yeah,
so you feel like
because you know what Jason did? He didn't finish it.
That's right.
He was like, no,
Now, if I
it's
only ordered
it's too much.
if I only ordered 2 giant hot dogs and I ate them, then I ate everything I
Yeah.
ordered. But if I
Yeah.
ordered 3
Ziggy
and I
piggy.
eat 2,
you showed self-control.
This is
absolutely.
what a
Because here's the thing,
incredibly
I
wasteful
was
way to make yourself feel better.
Yeah,
well,
it's
it's not
great.
just to make yourself feel better. I was asking
No, he feels
ChatGPT for yeah, no, it doesn't make you
Do
feel
you
good.
feel
No, I feel awful. I
like
feel like
you
I
ate
ate 2 giant hot dogs. But one of the tips for fitness that I was just getting from ChatGPT was eat 70% of your meal.
Oh, so
I'm
smart.
at 66%.
that's what I'm saying.
How do I not lose weight if I keep ordering that much?
It's pretty scientific.
Oh man, we
Amazing.
figured out a pretty.
Yeah.
I got a new diet coming out, America. Get ready.
Your lunch could have been 1,700 calories.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No way.
Because you stopped.
Because I'm not going to go all the way and eat that bad.
No, you did a great job, and we're glad you're here. There may be weird sounds emitting from your microphone, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's not from the microphone.
We got NFL news to talk about. We have the truth of the running back position on today's show. We have another fantasy face-off and a Jason Moore wheel of shame dominating the wheel of shame during
this is not fair.
during the playoff.
This is not fair. I'm the shame every week, but what's happening, everybody,
You're
is I'm
tying.
tying.
You're tying.
Not with me.
Yes, Mike won this week. Andy and I tied, and so we had
It's
to
a win.
yeah,
Mike went 2 for 3 because
it's
one
a
of his
win.
was a tie. Yes,
Yes.
he won.
Anyways,
2 out of 3 hot dogs
but
for Mike.
the last 2 times that I have been the shame, I have not been the sole shame. I tied and
Right.
I lost in a pistachio throwing contest.
Actually, twice it was pistachio. Once you lost the tiebreaker. Oh no,
Yeah,
you didn't
no,
lose because
I'm
I
just
got
saying
you.
the pistachio off, which we're doing around the studio, throwing a
Yeah, you
pistachio
love that,
close
don't you?
to the wall. I'm not as good as Andy at that. And I'm just going to say it. You're
Yeah.
better at throwing a pistachio than I
Thank
am.
you. I've been waiting for that for a long time.
But it sucks that now I get shamed.
You
Yeah,
can
you're
can
getting
pick a
shamed.
new game.
Oh,
If we have like a
Yeah, I'm
few
fine
of
with
them,
any-
anything you want to throw, we'll throw it.
I
wanna
don't
do paper
No.
clips?
I
He's
want to do.
afraid- he doesn't
any
wanna
game.
throw.
I want to do tic tac toe.
Well, that's
That's a lame.
infinite.
That's a lame game.
No, it's not infinite.
It's
Uh,
infinite.
The point
It's infinite.
is,
There's one way to win.
Jason is getting shamed today.
Yeah.
So you can look forward to that. It's a fun. It's a fun one.
Is it more hot dogs?
You will be in a hot dog outfit.
No, we're bringing
you
the
gotta
third
eat.
dog out.
Yeah, it's
Mike,
still on the table.
you've got an announcement for us.
Yes, I do. Foot Clan, it's time to assemble. We have something we need to help, or we need you to help us out. Go to footclanvote.com. The annual FSGA awards are going on right now. It's the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association, industry we're a part of, and every year they do a Best Social Media Award, and it is a vote award. So we really need you to go out, click FootClanVote, or go to footclanvote.com, click. It'll be really, really fast. It's just like a SurveyMonkey thing. I promise it'll take you 2 minutes at the most. And assuming we win with the Foot Clan, who are strong and mighty, Matt the Falcon, our social media director, doesn't get fired.
Yeah. So maybe don't vote. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I don't want to sway people to not vote.
Yeah, wait, did I convince
Yeah,
people
I
to not
do
vote?
feel like you talk people out of doing this.
Now, if we lose, he will remain on board.
Okay. All right. So if
He
you want
will-
him out,
yeah.
go vote
Yeah,
right now.
Okay, there we go.
Either way, go vote.
Yeah.
And we'll get rid of him.
We'll do whatever you want.
No matter what the results are,
if you
we'll
vote,
get rid of him.
totally up to you
I'll
what
tell-
you want us to do.
If we win, I will put a poll up that says, should I fire Matt?
There
and
you
then
go.
I'll just, whatever
There
the
you
poll
go.
says, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Matt real quick.
Oh, he's not here.
Pre-fired.
He's not here today.
Interesting.
FootClanVote.com.
Interesting.
Thank you very much. Quick question of the day. David writes in from the website, among the remaining playoff teams, which players, teams, and storylines are you rooting for the most? We have the Patriots and Broncos game, Jarrett Stidham. We have the Seahawks and the Rams. I've got a reason.
You left yours blank. I don't even know what it is. Because you don't know? You want me to go first?
No, I'm not at a lack for words. I don't
You don't care.
I don't really want any of them to win. If I had to choose one, it's New England. I'd pick New England to win because I'm a Drake May fan. I'm a Mike Vrabel fan. But then in the back of my head, I'm like, they've had enough winning. They don't need more winning.
Then there's only one team for you to choose.
And that's the team that I am
Jarrett Stidham?
choosing.
Yes.
I want the Broncos to make
I don't like Sean Payton.
everyone upset.
I don't like Sean Payton at all.
That's true. You don't. I do. I think Broncos fans are awesome. So I want it for them. Love the city of Denver. It's delightful.
It's a good place.
And I like the team. I like Bo Nix. That story of losing, the story of having your backup come in, Nick Foles-esque, and like win a championship. I don't believe that the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl. I think they can, but that's where it's like the most
so
fun
would you
outcome
say you're
for me.
rooting for them? Would you say you're rooting for the Broncos to win?
I
Because
say
I will open this can up on this show right now.
There was a problem with the definition of a word
there.
We were
meaning something.
defining rooting, and Jason defined it in his own
No, I didn't.
his own upside down.
Are you rooting? No, I just hope that they win.
Yes,
That's
there's-
rooting.
No,
you
but
are...
no, but the thing is,
You were like, you think the realistic chance of a team winning is tied into rooting. That's insane.
all right. Hold on. If we're gonna
Al
open,
Borland,
if
do
we're
you-
opening
do you
the bag
agree
of
with me?
worms,
I do agree
hold
with
on.
you.
If we're opening
Okay.
the bag of
Oh.
worms, you got to get it right. This was right after the injury, and my point was, if I knew that the Broncos,
Just let him do it, man.
I know.
just listen to
He
my
can-
case. Just listen to the case.
Okay.
If I knew that the Broncos would win the Super Bowl, right? They like go forward in time, they won. That would be like my favorite
With Stiddy.
with Stiddy, obviously.
Jay Stiddy.
After Bo Nix goes down, that would be my favorite outcome. Because I don't believe they can win in the Super Bowl. I do think they can beat the Patriots. I don't think they'll win in the Super Bowl. I don't want that to be the actual game I watch. I think the most fun game would be Drake May against not Sam Darnold. I would think Matthew Stafford, Drake May
Okay.
is the most fun Super Bowl. Therefore, I'm kind of rooting for the
That
Patriots
matchup? Okay.
to win that game. I'm not actually rooting for the Broncos, but my favorite outcome would actually be the Broncos winning the Super Bowl.
So the
both
one
of those two things.
The one that you hope is the outcome
You're not rooting
is
for
the
that
Broncos.
correct.
team. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now the people out there know exactly what we were dealing with.
Yep.
And by the way, let me just say this. Papa Josh immediately wrote, I feel like I'm looking in the mirror with a dumb argument, which should alarm you.
That is very alarming.
That
Because
should alarm you. You root. To me, rooting is all about, it doesn't matter the probability of winning. It's who you'd want to see win the most, which you said is the Broncos. You'd want the Broncos to win the most.
I will say this. It is such a fascinating thing in sports when as soon as a game starts, and no matter what you thought prior to kickoff, all of a sudden you know exactly who you're rooting for. This happened to me with the Bears.
You realize that they were the team you wanted to win.
100% last week. I mean, the game started, and I had said earlier that I was literally rooting for the other team. But as soon as it started, there was no doubt. My
I think
heart
it's 'cause
wanted.
You don't know what rooting means.
It is pretty unanimous on that opinion.
I think I can root for a lot of things, Mike. My heart is bigger
We'll
than
study.
yours.
We'll study his brain
That's
for
fine.
science later on. I'm rooting for nobody. I'm bitter and Buffalo. I'm rooting for Buffalo.
I am in on the Denver Broncos and Jay Stiddy just the chaos that would ensue would be very.
I'm not
very
rooting for
fun.
any of the NFC West teams. I can't do that.
Okay,
Principally.
so just Broncos.
Sure.
I'm rooting
You
for
love Sean Payton.
I'm rooting for Ken Bone Walker, who now has an opportunity to get the bag.
Yeah, so is Andy.
Get the bag. Go get a starting feature role.
You know what?
Do it on the biggest stage.
You just helped me figure out who I'm rooting for.
You're rooting for the
You're
Seahawks, aren't you?
putting it into fantasy football. I've got Ken Bone Walker on my main league team. That's who I'm going for.
Yes.
How crazy is it to think that the incredible draft, the incredible NFL
My
draft.
guy, Ken Bone Walker. Andy's guy.
Yeah.
It's happened.
What were you saying? How incredible is what?
So was it, I think the 2018 draft where Josh Allen was drafted. I think was Lamar in that draft
Yes,
class?
he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 20.
Baker.
Yep.
Yeah.
All,
Zach.
Darnold.
Wait. Oh,
but
that was
that's
Darnold.
my
That
point.
wasn't Zach Wilson.
Who's going to win the first Super Bowl? Is it Josh Allen or Lamar?
Right.
No,
might
right now
be
it
Sam
seems like
Darnold.
it's Sam Darnold has the best
It's
chance.
not Josh Rosen.
No, he was.
Oh.
Man, there were a lot of wins and one Josh Rosen in that draft.
We will we'll go ahead.
Who did
and-
we get?
That one.
News and notes from around the league.
Well, we'll have coaching news probably every show for a while. The more exciting offensive coordinator options out there, Mike McDaniel of formerly the Dolphins head coach. The report, was it Schefter?
It was a little bit of everybody.
Yeah.
The expectation is he will become the Chargers' next offensive coordinator.
This is good.
Greg Roman was let go. Very disappointing playoffs once again for Herbert and the Chargers. If Mike McDaniel ends up with Miami, with Los Angeles, I think that's pretty exciting, and everyone would agree on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you
Makes me happy for Hampton.
It's like Hampton and like Gadsden. We just talked about Gadsden on today's Dynasty podcast, which we recorded that yesterday, so we didn't have this Mike McDaniel news. And it's like it's nothing for sure, of course, that McDaniel would come in and be like, oh no, Gadsden, I need to have some real offensive packages surrounding him. Like we had a few of those in Miami. It's not for sure, but you have hope because you have proof of concept that there were great players on the Miami Dolphins, and then out of nowhere, Jonnu Smith is the one who's just dominating. So this is super exciting. The Herberos around the nation they should be celebrating.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of seasons ago, Tua led the NFL in passing. We don't even really think of it like that. That this Dolphins offense was the most passing yards
They were
in
the
the
high
NFL.
flyers.
And so getting Herbert and the weapons that this team has, which other than Keenan Allen, are very young and explosive.
Trey
I'm
Harris.
very. Oh, I love Trey Harris.
I love what he did even this season with the running game and Devon Achane in Miami as
Sure.
well. I just feel like his running schemes, they work out. So that makes me excited for the whole offense. We found out, I guess this would be criminal charges are not going to be filed against Jordan Addison.
Which that's great.
He's preparing for a civil claim arising from the wrongful arrest. Oh, he's going to file his own civil claim.
Yeah.
Against what he's alleging to be a wrongful arrest. Brandon Beane said Josh Allen may need a procedure on his foot, but if he does, he will be ready for OTAs. This would be the Buffalo Bills superstar general manager Brandon Beane.
This is not in the doc, guys, but it's too amazing to me. This whole the fiasco
I love it.
of
I love
McDermott
it.
being let go and Brandon Beane retaining his job, promotes. Thank you, improving his job in spite of the fact that Brandon Beane, and when it comes to drafting, has not been good. He has not been good for the Buffalo Bills, and then more stuff starts to leak out that there was like him and McDermott. It kind of got a little heated of McDermott thinking, I don't have the right staff to win a Super Bowl. That would upset the general manager, I get. And then yesterday, you had everything coming out of there was a press conference with Brandon Beane and the owner of the Bills. And the owner starts going, hey, because Keon Coleman comes up. And it's like, you guys need to leave Brandon Beane alone on that one. The coaching staff wanted Keon Coleman. This was not Brandon Beane's guy.
Man.
This was the coaching. He's like throwing the McDermott and crew under the bus. And since then, we just have a steady trickle of draft videos behind the scenes of Brandon Beane highlighting who's the guy that we're going to draft. It is for sure.
Who gets the credit if Keon Coleman had been great?
Oh, dude.
Brandon Beane does.
Brandon Beane's a genius there, huh?
Like, this is
what's craziest about that situation to me. Now, it's really funny looking at the receipts.
Disgusting drama.
The receipts that are coming out
Yes.
showing that this was obviously not just
like, you're a liar.
the coaching staff
You're
wanting,
a liar.
But the craziest part is Keon Coleman is under contract
Yes.
right now. You're bodying your own player like, oh, dude, the general manager did not want Keon Coleman. That guy sucks. He's your he's under contract. He's probably watching your press conference. It's definitely gotten back to him.
Brandon Beane.
Mr. Beane, which is his new name.
Oh, we're going Mr. Beane?
He's Mr.
That is his name.
I am
Exactly.
totally
It's
for this.
respectful of us.
Mr. Beane,
Yeah.
there is no other reasoning to me other than he has, in Aladdin, Jafar has his staff, right?
Yeah.
And the Sultan is just under the spell. That's the only thing I could think of that is going on for Brandon Beane. He's like, no, Sean McDermott wanted Keon Coleman. And he's like, yeah, but I'm watching this video. No, you are not.
Sean McDermott wanted Keon Coleman.
Oh, my gosh, Mr. Beane. Can't wait to follow this.
It is
Good stuff.
pretty unprecedented when the player's still on the team to talk about how much of a whiff he is.
Unredeemable.
The only unredeemable pick at this point.
The only thing that's fun is the Mr. Bean GM situation is the Giants GM situation where they hire Harbaugh and Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
This has just been such a fun time.
Yes, it really has.
And the issue
and this is why John Harbaugh does not work for Bidwell and the Cardinals.
100%. And so the hardship in getting the contract signed was apparently he needed to know that he has final say over who is it? Joe Schoen?
Joe Schmo.
Joe Schmo, their GM. That's right. And then the quotes that have been coming out from that guy.
Yeah.
First of all, when he introduced Harbaugh at the press conference, he looked like the most nervous man on the planet.
I have given speeches in the midst of a panic attack. That's what it sounds like, where you can't talk.
You can't catch
you
your breath.
can't get air.
Yeah, you can't catch your breath.
And then he was asked
later.
later.
I'm just surprised he's not excited.
Right? Well, because he's.
Why is that a nerve-wracking one?
I think it's
You've had a
because
lot of other. How about the press conference when you're like, I traded Saquon? That one you should be hyperventilating.
He is holding on for dear life for his power.
Well, did you hear what he said about the?
I'm still very important here.
When he was talking about question about Harbaugh's this was the holdup in the final say, and he's like, yeah, it's really no big deal.
Yeah, it's just a thing on paper. It doesn't really matter.
It's just
a thing on paper.
It's just a contractually binding thing that says I don't have the final say anymore.
But I am still a very important person. I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Dude,
I'm one of the people here.
It's Star-Lord and Thor.
Yeah.
Where they're he's like, oh no, we all know who's in charge
We
here.
do.
Of course,
the
it's you.
49ers announced they want to re-sign Juwan Jennings, and John Lynch said it's safe to say he's played his last snap with the 49ers. Speaking of Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, yeah.
So Brandon Ayuk is, we know he's not. I don't know if he's ever going to play football again. I really don't.
I think he's going to lose so much money, he's going to need to play football again.
Probably right there. But that'll do it for the news. We will take a break and jump right into the truth.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Well, the last couple of episodes we've looked at the quarterback position. Today we're looking at the top 10 running backs and looking at the truth. If you're new to this series, we are basically taking a look at how fantasy players finished at the position and what their true value was to your team by way of consistency, week in and week out performances. And, we have a different threshold for what a great, a good, and a bust game are for each position group. And so we walk through and tell you what we found. Kind of a post-mortem on the season, a chance to look at the reality and the truth of the situation. we like to give a little bit of overview information every year. We did this with the quarterback position on how the running backs performed over the course of the year. Interestingly enough, this was the second most total rushing fantasy points. So not talking about running backs performing in the passing game, but the second most total rushing fantasy points for running backs since 2011. So that, it was a big year in terms of just rushing the football.
Rushing touchdowns, too.
Yes. They were, it's the second most rushing touchdowns by running backs in that span as well. 23 different running backs hit 7+ rushing touchdowns. The average over this last decade was 17. I thought it was also interesting, though, that the running back position has been less efficient as a receiver. It's the fewest running back receiving yards since 2011. I don't know if you guys have thought processes as to why that's happened. I mean, I think that there are
more zone
defense.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's some like highly prolific pass catching running backs that have phased out of fantasy. Like we had a lot of years with like Eckler, right, where he was just one that comes to mind. But that makes sense. Only 7 running backs this year caught 50 or more passes.
That's really surprising. I feel like in the modern NFL, with them throwing the ball so much more, you would expect it to not be going that way, but it's actually been a trend over the last few years. It's kind of been lower and lower each of the last couple of years. So I expect when you look at a long enough chart, those things ebb and flow and they go backwards and forwards. So I would expect an uptick in receiving for the running back position next year over what it was this year. I would also expect the health to change because running backs can't stay healthy predominantly for like the history of the NFL until the last 2 years. They are incredibly healthy once again in 2025. You want to look at the games played from the top guys, Bijan a full season, Saquon, Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Achane Jr. Like everybody was just healthy the whole season.
You guaranteed it.
I did for Bijan, and I don't.
And
see
Mike
enough
was
of those
100% sure CMC would be healthy the whole year.
Yeah,
he sure was.
Never in doubt.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I remember this show over several years where we are talking about that how few players, usually like in the top 20 running backs, only 2 guys played a full season.
Right.
Like that is more normal than what happened last year and this year, which I do think, now that it's back-to-back seasons, maybe this pushes running backs even further up draft boards next year because you just think whatever just happened will happen again, and it usually doesn't.
Yeah, I do think the defenses and what they're doing right now in the NFL played a part. I also always, like in a neutral situation where you're not swinging the pendulum back and forth, I think that since this show started, I much prefer taking running backs in the first round of the draft. That's how I want to build my team. Injuries can like sway your emotions year to year, but in a situation of true neutrality where like, look, let's be honest, anybody can get hurt at any position at any time, and we're all going to blow picks in the first 10 to 12 in the draft because some injuries are going to happen.
About 50% of the first round will be bad.
Like, I mean, I think this year is a perfect example of like the power of the dominant running back was on display. Why? When it works out, when you take that chance on that position group, and we'll be getting into the truth of the wide receiver position, and maybe your opinion will change on it. It just showed, I think, Christian McCaffrey this year, Bijan Robinson, difference makers, Devon Achane on a week-to-week basis, Jonathan Taylor for the majority of the year. When you take those players and they are healthy, you're very, very safe and secure on a week-to-week basis. Now, looking at the running back truth data, thresholds, great games are 21-plus points, good games 12-plus points, bust games fewer than 7. We don't count missed games against their consistency score. We don't have to spend a long time here, but we might because there's a dude sitting across from me that might need his time to celebrate. Number 1 in total fantasy points, number 1 in consistency, number 1 in the first half, number 1 in the second half. At 29 years old.
Yeah.
47% great, so almost 50% of the time he gave you a performance of 21 or more fantasy points.
That's absurd.
0 bust games and 88% good games. Arguably the most complete performance of his career, even if not the most dominant. Christian McCaffrey, 311 for 1202 and 10 on the ground, and a nice 102 and 924 and 7 through the air, 2 positions in 1. I mean, what can you say?
Unfair. I mean, it's literally two positions in one.
Yeah.
If you just use his receiving stats only, and he doesn't touch the ball on the ground, he would have been the wide receiver 11. He would have been a wide receiver 1, and then he also gets all the rushing stats that on his own would be. I mean, it's outlandish.
He didn't really score too many touchdowns.
No, it wasn't
he was
like
number one everywhere, but this was 10 rushing touchdowns.
I think he had 7 receiving.
He had 7 receiving. That's not crazy. Those numbers are not crazy.
For the volume, correct.
For the volume, I'm just saying for the volume, like you talk about.
Well, a couple of years ago, they were giving him the what was it? The cumulative games in a row with a touchdown. They were forcing the issue there because he was breaking records.
I mean, he's ebbed and flowed on the ground, but like his last full healthy season, he was at 14 on the ground. Same season, he had 7 through the air.
His third highest season in touchdowns, if I'm doing the quick math.
Yeah, he missed. When he's healthy, though.
Yeah.
When he finished number 1 at the position, let's put it that way. He finished number 1 this year, right? His previous 2 number 1 finishes 15 and 14 on the ground. It was just
it was not nearly as effective on the ground.
Not a lot of big plays, right?
Like injuries, yeah. The especially the big plays on the ground that we saw, that we're used to as a San Francisco 49er. Those really were not there.
Yards per carry. Do you know what it is?
It was 3.9. I think
3.9.
Yeah. So that stinks, especially when 2 years ago, very, very small sample, but I think he was at 4 in that year. Kittle did miss a lot of time.
He was at 5.4.
Oh, he's at 5? 2 years? What,
last year in his barely limited work, he was at 4.
That's what I was.
Okay,
that's what I was
yeah.
thinking.
His last healthy season was 5.4.
It was only 4 games, but and when Kittle is out for the 49ers, it's a really, really big deal. Which
going into next
that'll
year,
be a big deal for next year because he'll have the Achilles injury.
You should trade him to me.
McCaffrey's inefficiencies. He next year will. I can't imagine I won't be in on Christian McCaffrey, but I don't know if I'll be in on him.
Let me help you.
Well, Bijan's going to be the top 1 pick, but it's like Gibbs.
Montgomery could be gone. If Gibbs was alone,
there are
Ja'Marr Chase. If you want to go wide receiver,
I'm just pure running backs. There's going to be guys that I will consider over McCaffrey.
Underdog shared this. This was Christian McCaffrey's 3rd time topping 400 touches in a season. Obviously, he's been a workhorse many times.
That is also a scary number.
The other 2 times that he did it, the following season he played 3 games and 4 games.
Yeah, that was kind of the argument.
How do you think he is so fresh at 29 years old?
The
off seasons,
full years
off.
Yeah.
What if they did that proactively for somebody?
Yeah,
just every other year.
We're gonna get a good draft pick this year.
Uh-huh.
You're going to sit out. You're going to be healthy for next year. We're going to have more ammunition.
Now, it's obviously the touch threshold is not everything. There's a bunch of other variables, but if you want to put that into action, last year, Saquon Barkley on that huge season where he's just touching the ball like every play, that was one of the red flags. Is hey, Barkley's a bit older. He hit this number that we have seen statistically when running backs hit this threshold of carries and touches. Things don't really go well the next year.
You realize this was a career high, by the way,
for
total
touches?
opportunities.
That makes sense.
440.
It makes sense. And the whole team was hurt. Like the wide receiver room was just devastated for about half the year.
And then you won't have Kittle going into next year. You might have some more wide receivers that they bring in because they either need to re-sign Jennings or draft somebody or do both. Pierce Hall was hurt all year, like you said. We'll see.
Having said all of those things, I mean,
he's great.
He's
great.
The receiving numbers, he would have been a wide receiver 1 with just the receiving work. He will still be able to do that. If maybe the big plays are gone from the ground, it's more inefficient. But he's still going to catch the ball a ton.
Number 2, Jonathan Taylor in fantasy points. His consistency rank, though, was number 5. And it's really a tale of 2 halves for Jonathan Taylor. The first half, he was the number 4 in consistency. You had 1, 2, 3.
Bijan didn't catch him.
You had 4 different number 1 overall finishes before week 10, by week 10 for Jonathan Taylor. In the second half, his highest finish on a week was running back 13, 41% great, 65% good, 12% bust games, 11 fantasy points less against top defenses. If you look at that first half of the year, he did dominate Denver's defense, but then it was like Tennessee twice. His 2 number 1 overall finishes, Tennessee twice, Atlanta once, Las Vegas. So, it got tougher in the second half, and you lost Daniel Jones. It was
I was going to say,
it's
it's really tough to know how he would have done. Obviously, week 2 against Denver's awesome offense when they were with Daniel Jones. He was the number 1 running back on the week that week. It's a shame that when they played Houston and Jacksonville twice and Seattle, these great defenses at the end of the year, we didn't get to see what the real Colts would have done with Jonathan Taylor.
Houston twice,
week
Jacksonville
13,
twice, Seattle and Kansas City.
So week 12, 13, that's Kansas City, Houston. Those were Daniel Jones games.
12 and 13?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the Houston games.
The injury,
so 2 Jacksonvilles, a
injury
Seattle,
was the
and a
beginning of the
Houston.
Jacksonville game.
It's tough. I mean, you didn't have the threat. You had the Rivers games. But this is not like we know this. Like Jonathan Taylor was the number 1 overall fantasy running back in 2021. He's been through the dark ages at quarterback. You got some life from Daniel Jones, and suddenly he's the number 1 back again. But that disparity between top and bottom defense is worth paying attention to if you don't have the threat in the passing game. And then home road splits. He was 10 points better at home. It was
that's a lot.
Like a pretty huge disparity in both of those situations.
Yeah, you don't want it. It's very normal, but that large of a split for both is
at home against a bad defense. You better count on a boom game.
And then the question of what's the quarterback situation? Daniel Jones, as of this recording, is not under contract. I think
recovering from Achilles surgery.
I think we all project he'll be on the team if it's just a franchise or tag or something else. But to start the year, for the first month, it might be Riley Leonard.
I was going to say Anthony Richardson.
Or Anthony Richardson. Oh, yeah, he had the busted eye.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think there's a good chance that those guys are placeholders until Daniel Jones can come back. And I think the team would be even happier, assuming it's like a 1-year deal with Daniel Jones, a redemption deal, a chance to go back to the market, which maybe somebody pays him more than that elsewhere. But they'd love to see Richardson do well.
If next year is kind of an inverse of this year, because he doesn't have the healthiest version of the Colts to start, Daniel Jones maybe doesn't start week 1, and when he comes back in week 4 or 5, he's not completely ready, but maybe the second half of the year, the Colts are clicking. I would be so – like if you ended up having the exact season Jonathan Taylor had this year in reverse, where at the beginning of the year he was ho-hum, he was good, not great. He was like a running back 2. He wasn't crushing you any of those weeks. He was all those tough matchups without Daniel Jones, it was the running back 20, 22, 17, 13. Like, you're fine. But then the rest of the season, you go on that heater through the playoffs, and we would be talking about him as the league winner right now. So he's got that potential in him.
Yeah, I like that.
So next year, I'm gonna be very bullish towards Jonathan Taylor.
So Anthony Richardson, I just did a quick look. We got I'm seeing 15 documented starts. He has surpassed 270 passing yards one time. 272. I bring that up because Riley Leonard in that last game of the year threw for 270. Now it's last game. Wacky stuff happens.
He looked okay in his opportunities this year.
But that will be – I think it'll be a camp battle between Leonard and Richardson.
That was the game against the Texans, right? Is that when?
Let me double-check it.
Richardson completed 1 pass this year to himself.
Impressive.
That was it.
Final week was against Jacksonville.
Bijan Robinson at number 3.
Wait, nope, that was last year. Sorry. Houston, you're right. I want to get it right, man.
Bijan Robinson was number 3, consistency rank of number 3. First half, number 5 in consistency. Second half, number 3 in consistency. Jason guaranteed the indestructible Bijan Robinson. It happened. 17 games played. 12% bust games. He had 2 bust games. One was week 18.
Yeah,
8 and 18.
76%
Look out for those 8s.
47% great games. If you compare it to last year, very similar. Last year was 38% great, 81% good, with no bust games. Honestly, his season was very, very comparable to last year. He dominated bad defenses. The good defenses, he was 9-point differential, which was significant. Like this is very common for the running back position in general. Don't be alarmed by any of that. I mean, CMC was 6 points worse against good defenses. Jonathan Taylor was 11 worse.
You don't want huge splits on both sides
No.
of defenses and home road.
No, and Bijan was even on the home road situation. He was great. I mean, he had a couple of those more significant breakaway, game-winning, week-winning type of performances towards the back of the season, number 1 overall in Week 13, and then 4-7-2 in the playoffs. So, I don't know how much there is to say about him. He's just dominant.
I think the back half, if we look at him being better, he was great with Michael Penix. He was on pace for over 2,000 all-purpose yards and 70 receptions. You were so thrilled with what you were getting from him with Michael Penix, but he was even better with Kirk Cousins.
What do you think they do? Because I've seen I've seen more comments now about Cousins being their starter next year.
I don't know if they will have a choice health-wise.
Penix not being ready?
Right. It was the same ACL, right? That we have the new re-injury of it.
I mean,
Kyle, am I remembering that right?
Kyle would be the one to know. It was week 11, partially torn left ACL.
They were 5-2 with Kirk Cousins once he started. They won 4 in a row to end the season and tie for the division lead.
Cousins' best chance to start is to at least start a little bit of the season for Atlanta.
Absolutely.
Oh,
but there is a deadline, right? When's the deadline for the
money?
Yeah, there's a
they did
renegotiation.
They did something with the contract where it's for right around league year starting. They have to make a decision.
Yeah, he was Bijan, number 1 in forced missed tackles on rush attempts, number 1 in yards after contact, number 1 in all running backs in percentage of teams' first read targets.
Number 1 in awesome per play.
Yes.
Like you just when you watch and you go, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like on a
Nobody
per play
can
basis.
cut like him, man.
It's unbelievable.
No, he is very unique. So the Michael Penix was
Stay safe.
He tore.
I make no future predictions on that.
Penix tore his right ACL twice in college. So and then this one was a partially torn in the left.
Oh, just to even it out.
Yeah, it's not great. And what does the team do with Tyler Algier, who will be a free agent?
Yes.
They bring him into Seattle to be the new Charbonnet for Walker for you. That's what they do.
The most upsetting thing about
Algier's a great player.
Algier's
to be very clear.
good
He's a
player.
good player.
But
he is up
8 rushing touchdowns.
That's the problem is twofold.
Oh, that feels bad.
Sometimes you get really frustrated when a player who is inferior on the goal line is getting used on the goal line because maybe he's bigger or something. But this wasn't a bad thing to do for the Falcons. Algier was really good on the goal line, and they constantly used him to success, which is what hurts the most about Bijan. Because if Bijan had all the opportunity inside the 5 that, say, Christian McCaffrey got percentage-wise of his team or Jonathan Taylor got percentage-wise of his team, Bijan Robinson would probably be the number 1 running back this season.
He for sure would have been.
Number 4, Jahmyr Gibbs, 23 years old. Consistency rank of 11 for Jahmyr Gibbs. It was not a pleasant fantasy playoffs for Gibbs. Right before that, he was pretty much on fire. He had 2 number 1 finishes, weeks 12 and 14. But a consistency gap of, 4 to 11, that's a big deal. In the first half, he was 12th in consistency, 8th in the second half. It got better. There's talk of David Montgomery and the team parting because Montgomery's a good player. It's the unfortunate situation that who do you want on the field? You want Gibbs on the field.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. It's a little bit like Ramondre and Travion to a degree. I think Travion, that he can go to the house on any play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think Ramondre has more fundamentals.
Ramondre has more big play upside than Montgomery at this
point. And
I
think he also just does some of the other stuff better than Travion. Like right now, Gibbs does everything that Gibbs, like if they do a contest, Gibbs run around, Monty run around. Monty runs a good route. It ain't as good as Gibbs.
Yep.
Breakaway, all that stuff. So look, if he departs, I think Gibbs enters a new category. Right? We've been sitting here, the committee back situation forever. His percentage of good games went down this year. His percentage of bust games
playoffs
went up this year. Great games were about the same. He was worse by 10 points against bad defenses, and he was 7 points better at home.
Man, looking through the names, and I don't want to reveal all the other names just yet because we're doing a countdown type thing here. The variables with count up. The variables with pretty much every player we're talking about is wild. Like McCaffrey, not coaching, but you have the George Kittle stuff and all the touches. Jonathan Taylor has a quarterback problem. Bijan Robinson has a coaching change happening.
Yes, he does.
Jahmyr Gibbs has a coaching change with Drew Petzing as his new OC. Achane is next. He has a coaching change. This is very interesting.
Yeah. Yep. The nice week 10 to 14 was insane for Gibbs. It was awesome. Tough divisional opponents on the defensive side. Gibbs has every ability. Like, he's one of the guys that you would say could finish number one.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's the nice thing. This guy could too. Achane, again, new coach situation coming his way, but let's give him his flowers.
Yeah, never tell me the odds.
Number 5.
He weighs like 162 pounds or something.
He's so good, man. Consistency rank at number 2. The second most consistent running back in the game. 94% good games
baby.
With no busts.
Man.
Always has breakaway potential. 19% great games. Less of a split against bottom and top defenses, so integral to the offense. They have a new head coach, a defensive-minded head coach.
Yep.
What their offense looks like, we're going to find out. Who they bring in there to run it. Better at home. But this was the picture of consistency. We have, if you go to the fantasyfootballers.com, you search the player profile, you can see the color-coded map of every single game in the game log.
She green, baby.
Yeah, it's I can promise you I don't need to go to the page to see he's an A in consistency.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, what more can you say about a guy who overcame drama on the ball club all the time, losses, all that stuff? You always want to be winning, right? Well, they weren't winning. He was still producing.
For our consistency score, you guessed that he was an A, but what percentage of games do you think that he had an acceptable game?
100.
That would be correct. 100%. He was unbelievable. And 2 years ago, there were worries because McDaniel's been on the hot seat for a while. It's like, what if the coaching staff changes here? Because the reason we loved Achane when he was drafted, far more than we loved him literally the day before, was this is a perfect scheme to use his skill set, his 4.32 speed. And there were worries back then of, like, if it wasn't that match, Achane might not be very good for fantasy football as an undersized back that maybe gets only used in the receiving game a little bit, or it doesn't get the open lanes. He has been so good through his 3 seasons that I have zero worry about a new regime coming in. He is one of the elite special talents in the NFL. He's established that. So whatever coaching staff is coming in, they're now going to look at this player and say, we're building our offense around him predominantly. I mean, who else on this team are you saying we're building the offense around? Not Waddle.
No.
I mean, he might be next, but
some of the rumored names, one of the ones coming to life if he doesn't get, these are if they don't get head coaching jobs, but like
OCs?
OC potentials that I'm reading about here from some Miami beat writers. They just talked through the idea. Joe Brady, right? Like Joe Brady could end up as an offensive coordinator for them. Dable would be somebody that they could be interested in. Anthony Lynn, if you remember him as a head coach, he's now a running game coordinator. That might be interesting. Mike Kafka, who is the offensive coordinator for the Giants, but now that job is probably gone with Harbaugh. Kingsbury, Mannion, Monken, if he doesn't go to New York. So
there's some
there's
names.
options.
I'm not as far too bullish as Jason is. Like I have no concerns about the player or the talent, but if you get an OC in here who is a diehard running back by committee and is like, no matter what, this is just how I do it, and then I think I'll be a little more nervous.
I'm more nervous about the quarterback.
There is that.
That's
too.
my biggest, because if they are they going to be one of those is it Geno Smith in Miami, right? Is it
I don't think it'll be Geno. It seems like it will certainly not be Tua.
Well, it could just be Quinn Ewers.
And they won too many games to be, and I'm really, as of right now, it's like Mendoza in the draft, and no one else is really interesting.
That's what I mean.
I don't know what they.
I feel like Tua had that nerve in his brain that was firing. Like 1, 2, 3, Achane. And so you want to see somebody come in with that rapport, but he is too good in my opinion. That's where I side with Jason, where he's just too good to not. The differentiator between him and the rest of the group and the offense, it's a lot like Gibbs to me in Miami. All right, we'll take a break and we'll run through 6 through 10. This episode is supported by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making picks for the first time, trying something new, well, that can be difficult. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. I'm talking to Papa Josh here. It always feels good to be more right than Papa Josh. Look, Prize Picks now has early payouts. I just found out about this. If your player gets off to a hot start, you've got the option now to cash out on those winnings before the game even finishes. And they have a social feeds feature. You can share your Prize Picks with your friends. You can copy lineups from winners with one click. My only rule is you don't follow or accept friend requests from Papa Josh himself. Look, how simple is it to get started? We come from the app development world. We love the Prize Picks app. It's super easy to use. It's just smart and clean and easy. It's not like anything else out there. It's made the sport watching experience super fun. It just adds some value to the sport watching experience, and we absolutely love it. So you can download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code Footballers to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is the code Footballers to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
So, just a real quick follow-up. Achane, interesting stat from 2025. He had 1 rushing touchdown inside the 5. That's
For someone that consistent
yes,
scoring that many
that's what I
fantasy
mean.
points
That's,
feels impossible.
He had 5 carries inside the 5 and 1 touchdown from there.
But to me, that's
On the
only
ground.
positive news. He was not reliant on,
He also wasn't a 95 reception guy. He was a 67 reception guy. So he still did it on the ground.
right.
It wasn't like you're looking at him dipping from 95 to, in a different offense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing. He proved he can do it on the ground. We already knew he could do it through the air. I think there are enough ways to get this talented of a player involved that the new coaching staff, whoever it is, they'll do a good job.
The NFL's leading rusher comes in at number 6, James Cook, over 1,600 yards on the ground. Consistency rank was number 4. Really, the story of James Cook is one of the steals of the draft. I mean, a third-round draft pick that finishes in the top 6, really number 4 in consistency. It was even on both sides, first half, second half. Again, going to have a new offensive coordinator. So we'll see what happens in Buffalo. But the story of James Cook is that he proved himself to be a true workhorse dominator.
Yep, I was more on the side of I didn't want to draft James Cook at his ADP. I was concerned about how many touchdowns he had 2 years ago. And goodness gracious, man, he was so excellent on this. And pretty much every time he touched the ball, you're like, no, a big play is going to happen here. He had hit that status. And you saw a huge surge in volume, because that was one of the other things of like James Cook 2 years ago.
In his bank account?
That
happened too.
There was that. But 2 years ago, not the volume he need for the touchdowns he scored, but then everything balanced out and just his greatness shone through. So
it showed itself in the Denver game. He tried, other than the fumble, which was a problem. He fumbled 6 times this year, number 1 in the NFL. But he had a great game against Denver.
Yeah, he's a great talent, and the split that he was getting, it was at times in 2024 a 3-headed timeshare. You didn't know how much that would, Ray Davis,
Johnson,
getting more involved, and he got over 100 more carries than the previous year.
Yeah,
over 100 more.
They were the number 1 rushing team in football overall.
Oh, it would make sense. The leading rusher, and then you have Josh Allen on the team too.
Derrick Henry at 7. 32-year-old Derrick Henry came in at 7. Consistency rank of 9. Now, he was drafted as the RB5 off the board. So this is
it took some time.
It did take some time. 17th in consistency in the first half, 4 in the second half of the season.
Gets colder.
So I say once you hit the bye week, things were very good.
Which, again, it's just such a testament to how he trains to be better as the season goes on, where the defenders are now bruised and battered and they don't want to tackle this guy. But 24% great games, 59% good, 12% bust. I think I forgot to read those numbers off for Cook, so let me give you those. 31% great, 69% good, 6% bust rate. But back to Henry, weird year for Baltimore overall. He kind of, it seemed like it wasn't going to happen for him until they hit the bye week. You had Lamar Jackson's injuries.
It was very scary.
And then what are we doing? We just doing this over and over and over again until the end of time?
It is hard when you factor in his age. I mean, we came into this year saying we weren't worried about it. He looked so fantastic in 2024. I'm glad we did, and you stuck with it. He finished very good down the stretch. Honestly, the Baltimore Ravens would be in the playoffs if their team just realized, oh, we should be giving Derrick Henry the ball more down the stretch.
It did happen a few times.
Eventually it happened after a little too late. But he is, all jokes aside, a human being. And he will be 33. There will be an age where it will catch up.
There's only one running back in history, age 32 or older, that has had double-digit touchdowns in a season since 2010, D'Angelo Williams.
Oh, man. Is that the Steelers year?
I remember that, man.
I mean, if you're going to bet on any human to do it at age 32, it's going to be Derrick Henry.
It's definitely the outlier. It's wild. He was very good. 3rd in yards per carry, 5th in yards before contact, 7th in explosive run rate. We probably shouldn't bet against him anymore.
Yeah.
Age is just an idea, man.
Tell that to my niece.
I was going to say, can you handle the hot dog lunch like you could when you were 20?
Oh, no, I'd be doing much better if I was 20 right now.
Yeah, hot dog check.
Yeah, hot dog watch.
Hot dog check.
Hot dog check. They're doing work right now.
Yeah, they're working through the system.
Apparently, you need to only eat one hot dog. Because the 2 hot dogs, they fight.
That's what's going on.
They each want to be the only hot dog in their stomach.
Dog.
It's like Highlander.
Yeah, there can be only one. And they are going to war. I'll let you guys know who wins in the end.
I think they get?
Well, I hope they both don't win, because if they both win, the winner gets a bad time for me.
The winner gets a trophy over there.
Yeah.
You get to retain your.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it. You think about cashing in the toilet.
I mean, look, I already got it. I could walk over to that bathroom anytime I want, fellas.
I'm going to give you the last 3 names on this list and some of the basic numbers, and then we'll move on to the fantasy face-off. But at number 8, didn't seem like it was going his way for 5 weeks. But Chase Brown comes in at 8, consistency of 8, and consistency of 2 in the second half of the year. It's like what we said on the quarterback show with Burrow. We know the story. When Burrow is healthy and his weapons are healthy, they all perform for fantasy. 18% great, 65% good, 6% bust games.
It feels impossible that it worked out for him.
It really does. It felt like he was a dead man walking.
The first 6 weeks of the season, he was hot trash. I mean, he was worthless in fantasy, crushed you, killed you, and if you stuck with him or traded for him or, heck, picked him up off of waiver wires at that point, he was everything that you loved about him, Mike, coming into the season, and me too. You love Chase Brown. I said behind the scenes, like, if you didn't make him my guy, I might have. He showed all of it. He was better this year than he was last year in terms of the numbers. Because last year he busted 19% of the time, the year he broke out, and this year it was only 6% of the time. You could argue it was a better year, even though he had that tough start. Which is crazy. I mean, the first 6 games, he had a combined 200 rushing yards.
Kyren comes in at 9, consistency of 6. I don't know if this is just my perception, but Kyren seems like the most invisible, consistent player in fantasy because nothing he does is really flashy or exciting.
No.
He's just kind of he's a product of a great head coach and a great system, great quarterback, great wide receivers, great line, great defense, and he just functions within it to greatness.
And a third of the time you look up and it's 1 digit off on that jersey number.
Oh,
Blake Corum looks pretty much the same. And it's really wild.
What was the total carry differential like this year to last year? Because
went way up this year. I'll get Corum's
especially over the
numbers.
second half.
Well, I guess I'll look at Kyren. Kyren had 356 opportunities last year, 309 this year. And with 1 extra game.
Corum was 66 ops up to 159 this year.
So, I mean, those numbers are something to pay attention to a little bit on where you slot him in, and there'll be more reason to doubt him, and you'll probably make a mistake to doubt him because the production's probably going to be there. as long as this quarterback and this head coach
he's a really talented running back. They're keeping him fresher. It's smarter and might help them win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Travis Etienne comes in at number 10.
What team does he play for?
I know. It's wild. His consistency was 14. That feels right on the money. I mean, in terms of how it felt. And in the first half, number 19 inconsistency. Second half, number 10. They went on their run in the second half, and he was integral to it.
Dang, he's going to be 27?
Yeah, he was drafted late, and then he missed a full season right off the bat with his knee injury. So you forget how old he is. Going on to the free agent market, I'm very curious if he is a hot commodity or just like, he's a little older and he's outperformed.
Ken Walker's younger, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, and it's like, do you pay? Because Etienne's going to want a lot of money. It's like, or Tyler Algier is 26. Do you want to pay less?
There's just a big versatility differential there for me. It's like you definitely want Etienne because you just want somebody that, is capable of doing more in the passing game, I would think.
Yeah, Etienne is a very well-rounded player. He can do it in short yardage. He can go out to the outside. He can catch the ball really, really well. I think that's probably his strength is in the passing game. Teams will want Travis Etienne. I just really hope that it's the Jaguars that want him.
Yeah,
you want him to go back?
There's no world, I don't believe, where he goes and scores more fantasy points next year for a different team.
It is unfortunate how that works out sometimes. 6% great, 59% good, 24% bust, but ends up in the top 10 at the position. So we'll talk more.
The hot dogs have new weapons, guys.
They've
really been putting their scientists to work, and they have evolved. These aren't swords anymore. These are
no more
projectiles.
brass age.
No way, man.
Gunpowder
has been
is the
found.
play-by-play?
Gunpowder has been
the
found.
Industrial Revolution has begun.
The steam engine's cooking.
And you thought this was a good decision, huh?
I didn't eat the third hot dog, Andy.
When I had my stupid piece of grilled chicken and vegetables, and I looked over at my guy eating 2 hot dogs. I was like, what am I doing?
How you feel now, Mike?
I mean,
are you at peace?
Not good enough to have not eaten the hot dogs.
Okay. All right.
Just you wait till nuclear capabilities are found.
When fishing.
Well, we don't have much time left for multiple reasons on the show, so we'll jump right into the face-off and your hot dog shame.
Oh, man, we still have
your
that.
Your hot dog shame can become real shame.
Fantasy Face-Off, presented by Prize Picks.
This guy can't throw a pistachio to save his life.
Wheel of Shame.
The timing is great, Jason, because it is poop your pants.
Oh.
That's the shame.
Yeah.
For real?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh, I might do it.
Go ahead.
I might do it. I'll tell you what. If
go ahead. Cheesehead.
Oh,
it's the cup.
It's
Timu Mike.
Timu Mike, right. Okay, let's start here, Jason.
I get to be.
Put some tattoos on. These are some arm sleeves for you.
Yeah, there you go. You got some skulls on there?
Yeah, brother.
Oh, dude.
That's cool,
I've been
man.
thinking about sleeving up. So
yeah, this is
get a little taste.
A chance to try. Oh,
get a little taste.
Good, brother. Timu Mike Wright on the way, baby.
I get to be cool, guys.
I mean,
yeah, here you go.
Mike's liking it.
If your ink looked like that's pretty good work.
There you go.
If that were real. Oh, yeah, and the beard.
I already have a beard.
No.
But Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
That's what I was going to go with. Yeah, you got to get it's not the right color. So there you go, Jay.
What is this beard that has no mustache?
All right,
there you go,
Timu.
cool guy.
Oh, look at Mike. Oh, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I dyed my mustache dark.
Oh, man.
Yes. All right. Well, now we're jumping right in.
Okay.
Quarterback, Jason, why don't you kick us off?
All right. Quarterback. I'm going with Jared Stidham. Half an interception. I'm taking more than that.
Yeah,
I think,
But that's your green.
That
Green
is
Goblin,
my
right?
Green Goblin, yes.
Okay.
I'll follow it up then because I have Jarrett Stidham and the Green Goblin.
Oh,
but I'm
no.
going positive.
More than a
There we
half
go.
touchdown?
174.5 passing and rushing yards combined. 174.5. I'm taking the more for Jarrett Stidham.
That's a sneaky find.
Yeah.
I've got Sam Darnold in the heated matchup with LA. 235.5 passing yards in your bra. Taking the less.
Okay.
All right, Timu, Mike, right?
We going running backs? So from here on out, because I've been the shame a couple weeks in a row,
Yeah.
I wanted to have a theme to my playoff fun.
Okay. I smell some hate.
Yeah. Kyren Williams. Yards.
You love Kyren.
I love Kyren Williams.
You love Kyren.
I love him. Yards on first reception. 5.5.
Okay.
No, I'm going less than that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to defensive battle.
So-
Defenses are getting up for the first parts of these game. Everything's going to be short.
When it came to the interceptions, though, you're like, no, there's more.
Well, that's a negative.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Your hate.
So
your
what?
heart is full.
That was
I'm
running.
Timu
That was,
Mike
your
Wright.
that was your
Full
running
of
back,
hatred.
right?
Don't talk to me.
I'm full of hatred here. Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
48.5 rushing
Get him.
yards.
No way.
I'm taking the lower.
No way.
Less.
Ken Bone Walker. This is my Green Goblin. 1.5 receptions
Okay.
for Ken Bone
That's
Walker
a-
all by
That is
himself.
a gimme.
That's a steal.
Yeah, I'll take the
That's a
more.
great one.
Yeah. Wide receiver.
At wide receiver, Cooper Kupp. Yards on first reception.
You love Cooper Kupp.
I
He's
love
going all
Cooper
his
Kupp.
yards of first reception.
Yards
Yeah.
on first reception. 7.5. Less than that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See you next week, buddy.
Get a Cooper Kupp screen.
I went Rashid Shaheed in the same game, and I took 0.5 rushing yards. I'm taking the more.
Okay.
So give him one end around.
I got Kayshon Boutte.
Booty.
His projection is at 4 receiving targets. And I am crossing my fingers and going more on
That's
that
a
one.
scary one.
Yeah,
that
it
was
is.
really scary.
Yeah. I think he's like pretty much been right at 4.
I looked
I
at-
expect you to just
Listen.
tie there.
I glanced at Booty.
Yeah.
And
Don't stare too
Yeah,
thought
we've all
about
been
it.
there.
Don't
I
get
thought
caught.
about it, and I went away.
Yeah.
I was just uncertain.
Yeah.
Jason.
That's I was like,
All right.
which direction do you go? Do you go
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs or do you go with Booty?
Tight end, Evan Ingram. Yards on first reception.
Oh my gosh.
7.5. No, I'm taking less than that.
So yours is going to be over so fast.
My whole game is going to be. I just need everything to be short to start these games. No big plays.
I went Hunter Henry in the New England game. I think that the defensive backs, Booty, Diggs, I think they're going to turn towards Hunter Henry. I'm taking 43.5 receiving yards, and I'm taking the more for Henry.
I have Colby Parkinson.
Okay.
His projection is at 3.5 targets, which I'm trying to go back and count the games. It's like it seems like in the past 10 games he has only not passed 3.5 targets once.
Okay.
I'm loving this projection.
Well,
Thank you, Prize
we'll see
Picks.
what happens next week. That was Fantasy Face-Off presented by Prize Picks. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 fantasy sports app. You can see our lineups if you are watching on YouTube. Use the code FOOTBALLERS and get $50 in lineups when you play $5. Jason, all sleeved up. We'll say goodbye to you for today. Back with more truth,
You
playoff
do look
reactions
way cooler.
next week.
I feel way.
Let me
cooler.
see these. Look at those
Like,
arms.
Yeah. Should I get a sleeve?
You should get 2.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And a motorcycle.
I don't know about that.
See you later, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.